the topic came up in class about same-sex sex. And I was just very confused. And I was like, well, how do two men do it? But I just wanted to know.
You just wanted to know?
Yeah, I was curious.
No bottom shaming, okay?
No.
Welcome to the BoyFriends podcast, where we help you find your circle
And your man.
I'm here with
Jarrod.
Biddy, hi. Hey, how are you? Oh my God.
And Deleqúa.
And I am Pablo. I will be hosting today.
Ooh.
And today we'll be talking about shame.
Shame.
Jarrod, please tell us what you've been up to and what you've been doing and how
the
you
latest
are.
tea?
Please.
Oh gosh.
What's the tea?
Latest? Jesus. I think lately it's always the struggle for editing for me. That has been the biggest thing on my mind, is just trying to balance it, because before, when I edited the show, it was during the pandemic. I was at home. I had a lot of time and I could just bang it out. And I also had like a little bit more of a fervor for it. I was like, okay, I'm in it. Like, let's do this. We're going to go get it. And now, because of, a lot of stuff that had happened on the podcast and a lot of the reaction that I'd gotten, I had to take a step back. And then now I'm jumping back into it. But I'm like, I don't know. Is this it? So there's a lot of some struggle there, but I'm trying to get my mojo back, and I think I'm doing okay.
No, I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Yeah.
I mean, this podcast wouldn't be possible without you. So,
well,
Made
thank you.
possible by
But yeah, that's
sponsorship of Jarrod's time.
Yeah.
And life and energy.
Yeah.
okay, though, Biddy, please.
For me, I had a birthday recently, and
Happy birthday!
Thank you. And 33 years old.
Jesus,
Yeah. Because that, yeah.
That's what they call it, the Jesus
The
year.
Jesus
Not
year.
that you about to die now.
You know, if it's coming, it's coming.
No, it
hot.
ain't.
Yeah, I know
I
it's
repeat
not.
that.
Yeah, exactly. We just talking about aging. Yeah, it's like we're gonna age. It's
We're
gonna
going to
be
see
beautiful.
80-year-old Biddy.
Yeah, it'll be everything will be dangling at that point. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be so firm and tight as she is today. But for me, what's been on my brain and heart lately is this is one of the first birthdays I've had in a while where I didn't fall into a self-defeating pattern that I get into, which is fear of rejection often makes it so that I don't really want to make a big deal of my birthday, and I don't really plan anything. And then at a certain point, I'm like, oh, I should. I'm getting pressure from all my friends to do something. So at the last minute that I planned something, it doesn't usually go super well because I didn't give anyone enough time to show up for me and to be aligned to that. And then it reaffirms this belief that people aren't going to show up for me, that I'm not loved, that I will be rejected if I ask of people. And then that vicious cycle every year on the birthday would come back up, and it came heavier and heavier. And I say that to say this year was not that. We broke the pattern. I have a friend who has the exact same birth date as me, JJ. We have July 29th. Don't take that. Oh, geez. I shouldn't be sharing birth dates on it. Whatever.
It's okay.
Y'all
We
got
just
it.
need a year. We need a year.
Exactly.
And
July
a social
29th,
security number.
Same year. Yeah, exactly. Social security address. Yeah, zip code. But all that is to say, we saw that Kesha was coming to town on our birthday, July 29th. And so we were like, it's done. Months in advance, we're doing it. And they were just such a lovely planning partner where they had no fear in inviting folks, which is usually the thing that scares me. And then for me, I love planning shit. I love actually doing all that, and I don't give myself the opportunity to much anymore.
Funny,
so.
when I'm planning stuff, I have a little bit of that anxiety about reaching out to people and saying, hey, I want this person there. And then I'm always just like, are they going to show up? And then, I've had a moment where I invite people in a group text, and there's like zero response, and I'm just like, okay, well,
Devastating. It's a devastating. I've had it recently, and it was like
Right,
It
right.
helped me see this pattern, though. The like recently doing a group text send and like not having that response, not having the show up, and I was like, that is in me. Like that is actually my bad because I am not showing up in a way that makes it possible for others to show up for me. People always do in whatever capacity they can, but it felt really good to then show up for myself in a way that made that possible. I don't think it's going to get that much easier to do the ask.
I think in my case that was on them.
She said, "Oh, fuck those."
You know who you are.
I almost said the word I can't say online. I said, "Fuck those." But fuck those F slurs. Let's say. But all that is to say, there's a lot of anxiety there, and it's exciting to see that there's a different path available to me. And this is my best birthday probably in a decade at least, and I hope for many more turning the corners on.
Well, thank you, Biddy. That's awesome. And let's all give a happy birthday to Biddy.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to
Happy
you.
birthday.
I'm titty fucking myself in for those on audio only, of course, but you should watch it.
Yeah.
Deleqúa.
Very visual show.
She's
at this point.
gagged.
Deleqúa.
Speak. Allah. Just kidding.
Woo! Anyway, now, these last few, this is an update. One day at a time. I'm taking one day at a time. To be honest with y'all, I'm excited though because Soft and Feminine is making its way in its rounds. It's being played in Europe and overseas now. So it's just been added, literally just being added as we're literally talking. So I'm expecting in a few months for things to keep going into a bigger direction.
Oh, Pablo, what's your update?
Thank you.
Say
Yeah.
a little-
My
Since you've
update.
been rammed.
Since you've been rammed.
Since you've been around,
Jesus. Okay.
I can breathe for the first time.
Oh God.
No, I just recently moved to New York.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a really big deal for me because I have always wanted to live in New York, and I'm making that dream happen. So this is like a really wonderful thing for me, and I just am so
Fantastic.
happy.
It's
I'm
a
so
big step.
blessed. Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
You'll see Pablo bartending.
apart from that, yes, you will see me bartending. Please feel free to visit New York. And okay, but you know what? Let's hop into it because we have some wonderful things to talk about.
Shame.
Shame.
Can you remember the first time you felt shame connected to your queerness?
That's day one for me. I was raised in a Christian home. It was, you're going to hell. You're going to a fiery place. You're going to catch the stuff. You're going to do the. I mean, I hate to say that, but these are words that were said. And we grew up in a culture where we grew up in a world where LGBT was not accepted, and we're still living in it.
Do you remember, like, let's say, an early moment that, like, replays for you of, like, where you could really understand that? Could you share if you feel comfortable to?
When I was a kid, just generalizing it. I'm gonna generalize it a bit because
That's
it's
okay.
a little triggering.
Yeah. That's okay.
I would play video games or anything that I would do. I would choose the females, play the female characters. It got so bad that it was told to an aunt of mine by a parent that I'm not to use the female characters. Oh my God. Sorry, I have to tell this story. No. But, it's not to say that they're bad. It's not to say that they're bad, but, there was a time that happened, and I got in trouble. I remember getting caught kissing a boy in a way. That was bad. That was bad. Because it's like, the worst for me was actually not even in my kid years. It was actually in the church one time, y'all, where they sat me down because I ended up messing with some boy, and the girls of the church went back and told the pastor, I love y'all, but low key, I think they wanted him too. Low key,
Jealous.
I love y'all. I'm sorry, but low key, I think they wanted him too. And so,
Fucking funny.
you know, but I had those situations. I had people calling when back in 2013, 2014, they were calling my pastors saying that I was dressing like a woman and all this. Is mind you, just before I transitioned. So my queerness has totally been attacked in all of those ways, and I felt shame because it's like people looking at me like, you know, I loved God, I loved being a Christian, I loved representing that, but shamefully I couldn't overtake who I really was, you know what I'm saying, or you know, and trying to suppress it really made it a difficult thing, and it made me shameful because I felt like, man, am I really going to this fiery place? You know what I'm saying? How my parents are not happy. You know, they got people calling. The church looks bad in our community because I'm just trying to figure out who the hell I am. You know, and it was definitely a time. Definitely a time.
Well, Deleqúa, I can certainly hear like in your voice, and thank you for being vulnerable enough to share your story. And I'm here. We're all here for you. We love this. And but I say. My next point, like, you don't need us because you are so strong. Like, you have made it through something that actually is not easy to make it through. Like, especially in this day and age. But I would like to hear from Biddy or Jarrod, please.
Yeah. Before we go on, I did want to just like touch on. Yeah. I wanted to touch on the how impressionable we were as children, because to those parents, it was a big enough deal that they brought it up when you're saying the video game characters, right? It's a big enough deal, but in the grand scheme of our lives, we could think like, it's just a video game character. It's just this.
I don't know. Haven't we all picked the female?
I was picking.
Isn't that like a LGBTQ thing?
It's trying to
femininity.
Yeah,
we were attracted to femininity.
I was always a Princess Peach.
Oh baby, yeah. I was like, damn,
You're still a
Come on,
princess.
I was always a
Yeah.
Chun-Li,
Still
Princess Peach.
Yeah. She's,
You know, come on.
damsel in
Exactly.
distress.
But it just points to like we're like children. We listen as children. We are so impressionable. Where it's like that gave you so much information about what was and was not going to be affirmed, accepted, and stuff. And so
Yes.
for you to still, you're now 38, and this moment I have to imagine from your single digits, maybe early double digits of age, and it's like it's still in there, and it's still something that like that is connected to now who you are. That's part of your story. I think if there's any parents watching, it's like there's a song in Into the Woods. It's called Children Will Listen. Children will listen. And it's so real. It's just like, careful the things you say, children will listen. Now as full grown Deleqúa, you can like care for that child in a way. And I just love that. And I could hear that in your voice. You were like, they weren't evil, but this did hurt. And like, I've got you now, and I'm living it now. That's beautiful, Deleqúa.
That is true. People will think that when I tell those stories that I think my family was evil, or because I talk. No, these are my truths. I love my family. I love everything. My biological family, my adopted family. You know what I'm saying? I love all of it. But, you know, it doesn't take away the fact that just because you didn't understand something doesn't mean I wasn't hurt. You understand what I'm saying? I was hurt, and a lot of times I had to cover it up. Now I just don't cover it up, and it's different for them now. But
yeah, shame. Shame. It's a covering up. It's that is really what it is. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, I
that's
can't
the
show
shame.
this. I have to
that's
keep
the
this.
shame. Yes, that's the shame. A lifelong of it.
And no, actually, I think this is a really great point. Like, another thing too is, you know, you weren't able to actually like understand what it was that was going on at that point in your life, and that's the worst part though, because you couldn't acknowledge like, I feel you know one way or a certain way, and that's so scary because not knowing is scary in of itself, and trying to deal with that at the time that you did at such a young age and an impressionable age is tremendous for you to be where you are now. So I think you're so brave and amazing. So
Thank you, baby. Thank you.
Do you have any like? And I think the question was roughly like early. Like, what's that? One of those first memories of where you understand.
You know, I
shame
don't know
as a
about like really early memories. I mean, aside from what I think I'd
Earliest that
already
comes to
expressed on, you know, going through school and the kids clocking me in 7th grade, like that whole thing, and just like me kind of figuring out, okay, am I? And if I am, is that bad? Like, you know, I remember for some reason the topic came up in class about same-sex sex, and I was just very confused. And I was like, well, how do two men do it? Of course it would be
How
me.
would they
that speaks up.
even? Yeah. How would they even do
make that
something
happen?
like that? Oh,
But honestly,
interesting.
I just wanted to know. But it's But obviously, like the rest of the kids were just kind of like they side-eyed the whole moment. I did.
You just wanted to know.
Yeah, I was curious.
Yeah,
I was
curious.
what? I was like 11, 12, something like that. I wasn't trying to do nothing with nobody. I was just, I didn't know what.
No bottom shaming, okay?
No. Jesus, not 11-year-old. You're bottom shamed.
An 11-year-old power bottom.
But to your point, it's like
I'm
it's
versed,
like
by the way.
fuck, like, and now all of a sudden, like I'm in public talking about
Yeah.
something that they're introducing. Cool on your school for like being like, we're going to actively introduce this concept, so maybe
Yeah,
it destigmatizes it.
Maybe.
Maybe
I don't
it
know.
was-
I don't know how that, I don't even know how it came up. But yeah, but what I was going to say was I remember, I want to say I was either in college or maybe a few years after graduating, and I was trying to figure. I told you like my self-esteem was very low. I was trying to figure out how to be me, and I'm out, and so like, what does that mean? Do I have to act this way? Do I have to act that way? I remember, like I used to walk very. Like I used to do like a lot of I used to, like very feminine like I used to walk very feminine like and that was a conscious choice. I mean, like told you, like I had to relearn how to be me, and so I remember we were at this like wine tasting or something with a friend, and I walked out, did my little toot, and everybody was just like looking at me like, okay, girl.
Little stretch.
She was tipping. She was tipping.
But, I felt a little bit like put on the spot then. I felt a little bit like ashamed because I was like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. And this is in a group of gay men, But, I had eventually kind of dropped that and, I don't know, kind of learned to express myself in a different way, I guess, a way that feels a little bit more natural to me, less of a put on. But yeah, I guess those would be a couple of examples for me.
I also was similar. Like I knew it before I have a specific memory, and I only know that because I was already feeling like the first memories I have, I already had a sense that it was something wrong and bad and that I had to kind of withhold. But for me, Boy Scouts, we've talked about Boy Scouts before.
They didn't want the homosexuals.
The Scouts,
in there.
they didn't. When we were growing up in Boy Scouts, homosexuals were not allowed. You could not be queer in the leadership. You could also not be queer in as a Boy Scout. And I remember... And thinking of it now, like this phrase does not mean what it did at the time, but because I was feeling this shame, every time when you started a Boy Scout troop meeting, you would have to say these certain pledges and things. And at the very end, it's like, I will keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
That's right.
Every single time.
We're having a moment.
Every single time. 3 fingers up, morally straight. And like starting at the age of maybe 11 or so, 12 maybe latest, every time I said that, it would like sink into me. It would just like this pit in my stomach every single week.
Is that what it means?
No, as an adult, I understand it to be like morally, it doesn't mean sexuality straight.
Yeah.
It
More
means
like
morally ethical, morally whatever. But to use the term straight in an organization that does not allow for homosexuality and to make
It's
that
kind of
the
like a double
final phrase,
entendre.
Yes.
It felt pointed,
Yeah.
and as a child who was sensitive to it, it hurt. It hurt terribly. And I remember around that same time when going to a Boy Scout camp, my brother was actually the head of the camp because they give you leadership at like 18
Yes,
or whatever.
they
So
do.
I was maybe like 10 or 11, and he's 18 and he's like head of the camp, overnight camp. And his tent mate, where like the staff all stays in these like whatevers, these tents, and one of them was outed and had to leave. Was
wow.
Was fired. Was whisked
Wow.
away out of the camp, and it was something that everyone was kind of talking about.
Jeez.
And it was my brother's tent mate that happened to. And I just remember I was like, this isn't a joke. Like, the stakes here are real, and the consequence of being out and of being known is rejection and isolation.
Mm-hmm.
And to see it so
Jeez.
clearly at such a young age, in the proximity of my brother is there, and I was just like, oh, I have no safety.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Yeah.
here for me, and so just keep your head down and hide. And I will say, I used Boy Scouts as a way to cover up the shame, as much as it was a source of it. It was also my
too.
beard. It was I'm a Boy Scout, therefore I can't be gay because gays aren't allowed in Boy Scouts. Yeah, so I would say that's some of my earliest memories. Being a part of an organization where that was
Yeah.
systemically not allowed, and seeing it manifest at a young age was hard.
Wow. I mean, I think we're all feeling it right now. What you're saying.
Just open up a whole can of this for babe.
You were like,
because I didn't even cause I didn't even think about it. All of those different times, all the ways shame. And then I make the joke about the big mouth, right? I'm sorry, not to take over, but I
the
make
shame,
the joke. But it's
wizard.
literally that shame wizard. Literally, my whole life was there, because it wasn't just you're not gay. It was you're not a girl. You're not a girl. You're not a girl. Stop this. You're not a girl. But so long, Deleqúa was screaming out bitch, no, this is who you are. And it's that struggle was oh my God. I mean, I could honestly live on the street and not have a home or nothing, but in 2025, I am happy with my inner self.
Yeah.
I am so happy with who I am, and I would never. I don't care. You can say everything about me under the sun. I love who the hell I am.
Yeah.
And yeah. That's something.
And if I may, when we talk about shame, I think we think of this, especially we're talking about early shame. In those moments, it was devastating. We all know that. We can re-access and even probably experience some of that emotion that we felt in those moments. In our adulthood, I don't know if you feel this, but shame and the transformation of shame is my biggest source of power and my biggest source of self-confidence. It's having to overcome the pain and the intensity of shame has now made me confident and in love with who I am. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean that all the shame is gone. The shame comes back. I was just talking about my birthday, right? It's I felt ashamed for not, being better at doing this planning, or not being brave enough to face rejection, fears. And so it still manifests, but now whenever I encounter shame, I'm I see you. I see this as another opportunity to expand, to remove the resistor or the limiter on myself. And even with those things, I feel lovely and confident with who I am, because I know I can do it. I've done it before. I've done it before multiple times. So of course I can do it again.
Pablo, what do you hear anything that you resonate with, or anything that you want to comment on, or do you have your own moments of shame that you want to kind of present?
Yeah, no, I think I'd love to, because we've all shared some really great, moments in our lives where we've, dealt with shame. And I think I'm happy to say that we are all sitting here today having worked through shame. That's really powerful. But I would like to draw on some of my experiences. When I first came out, not that it was, walking out of the closet moment, but it was more or less, I had my first boyfriend in high school, and I remember going to the gymnastics gym, and my mom
Gymnastics gym?
Gymnasium gymnastics.
We love you. Pet peeves. Because you went to the gym.
So I went to the gym. And my mom had said something to me, and I just told her that I was seeing a guy, and it was such a pivotal moment for me, because that was the moment where I knew that I was loved no matter what I was or who I associated with, and that was such a really beautiful moment for me.
Shout out to your mom for that.
Yeah,
Shout out to your
So
parents.
wait, what did your mom do? What was the moment?
The moment was simply, my telling her that I was seeing a guy, right?
Okay.
I didn't say, and this is out of shame, that I was gay. I just said I was seeing a guy. And I didn't know it then, but I was doing it because I was shameful. And I just wanted to kind of see her reaction and kind of move on from that. And she just took it so well. And, she loved me no matter, who I was. And I am so grateful for you, Mom. I love you. And another thing too is in high school I would go up to, or I wouldn't say ever that I was gay. Most people kind of knew, but I would never admit it. I would never validate what they're telling me, oh, you're gay.
How did they know?
Girl.
Right. They weren't there. This one wasn't in no closet.
Yeah, Pablo was like, "No, I'm not gay." Oh,
No, I was in the closet long enough that I knew how to dress well. And
she said, "The closet did me good."
Okay.
yeah.
Jesus
No, I had a lot of fun in that closet.
It was an incubator.
Yeah.
There you go.
But now I think, I'm so happy to be gay. I love myself.
Yeah.
Gay means happy.
Gay means happy. It does. And, I am so proud to be who I am. And it's so lovely. And I love all of my friends. And I am just so grateful for, the life that I have. And
Can I press you on that?
please, yeah.
She said, "You're not happy." I'm just kidding.
That's not where I'm going with this.
No. Where are you
But
going?
we have a whole month dedicated to Pride.
Sure.
And I feel like sometimes it's hard to know exactly what to be proud of. I think it's easier for me to have pride as a black man, knowing what we've come through and
Sure,
knowing,
yeah.
And I think in different communities, it may be easier to pinpoint exactly what it is to be proud about. But I mean, as a gay man, what does that look like for you?
Good question.
So when it comes to Pride Month, I love to go out.
No. I just mean what does it look like for you to be proud to be a gay man? Because you said you were very happy, and it seemed like you had a lot of pride, and I'm just
Emotion,
curious
yeah,
where
but
where that stemmed from.
I think it just stems from the support that I have in my life that allows me to feel that way. Because I know in some situations people are they're not dealt with the cards that they wanted, and it's tough for them, and they overcome it, which is really great. And for me, I was very grateful to have kind of grown up in a very supportive family and a supportive friend group, and it's really through my friends and family that allow me to feel the way that I feel, and I'm so grateful. So I don't know how that looks for Deleqúa or Biddy or Jarrod, but please tell me.
You brought up a term that I think is really powerful there, which is the cards that were dealt, right? And I think when I'm in active shame, it is this refusal of acceptance for the cards that I was dealt because something about them feels wrong or bad or unfair, whereas it just is right. I am gay, and that just is. Sixth grade Biddy is desperate to change the hand, is desperate to change the cards I'm dealt, is trying to hide the cards that I'm dealt, right? Because if they feel wrong, they feel bad. And a lot of that is not inherent. It's not like I feel bad because gays feel bad about feeling shame. It's society that we live in, and the
That Queen of Diamonds you were trying to put in.
Yeah,
your...
I was trying to put up my ass. Queen of Hearts. I'm just kidding.
There we go.
But I'll put it up my ass. Great. Oops, you know me too well at this point, baby. But all that's to say, I love the lens of the cards that were dealt. I think it's a powerful one on so many things, but for shame especially, it's can I actually, accept the cards that I was dealt? It's I'm gay. That's where I am. I think that acceptance can be a powerful flip of shame. It's like that first, like, I actually, like, I don't need to feel ashamed about this. This is just who I am. And then I think you brought in the second tier, which is gratitude. And I think that flips shame on its head completely. It's just like, actually, like, I'm really grateful that I was gay. For me, when you're talking about pride too, it's like, I'm grateful because, and proud because in the face of the shame, in the face of the adversity, the adversities that we face in however many rounds, but for me, in the queerness, I was able to, like, accept and love myself through it, and I love myself deeper because of it. And I have now more skills available to me because of having to process being queer. Emotional intelligence. I can communicate better because for queer people, usually we have the story of coming out. What a really difficult conversation to be thrust upon us. If we want to navigate the world, usually we have to do some sort of, this is who I am at a pretty young age. I don't know about you.
Multiple times.
Yeah. First 2 times I came out, I couldn't even say the word gay because it was too scary. But I knew to survive, I needed to start to come out, started to let people into that scary place. And then I think it was like college, where I was like, I'm going to come out and I'm going to be authentically who I am. I was starting to actually, like, say, like, yes, I am gay. And to then come out the other side and now feel like that's table stakes, baby. Like, that thing that used to be so hard is now like, I'm gay. I'm just kidding.
I'm cracking up.
That's where the pride is. It's like, I love that, like, in myself, I can see the power of being able to take something shameful, something that feels so difficult, and to flip it into something that I'm so grateful for, that has given me so many gifts.
You asked that good question to piggyback off everything y'all say, but that question was a great question to say because you also talked about being black and gay, a black gay man, right? So then I give you the black trans woman, right? So that's 3 because it's the black, it's the woman, and then it's the trans. So it's all of these things that we have to look at. We think about pride. It started with that stone wall, with Marsha P. Johnson throwing that brick because they were going against shame, because those cops were trying to intimidate them and make them feel, because in that time you're supposed to be ashamed for being LGBT, for being queer, and that was the purpose of pride being started. So it's like you said, it's the confidence, it's the gratitude that we have that we're making it through, because you see so many stories of others who did not make it through. And the circumstances that we're still being dealt with now in 2025. Get this regime together. Sorry, if people mad, I don't care if you're mad, stay mad. And we're going to stay woke while you stay mad. Oops.
They be creeping. Stay woke.
Okay. Just stay woke.
Erica.
Erica
Badu, also Philly icon.
And then when you think about, like, other things that we can potentially be proud of, it's like,
no, but she's like, she made her music here. She made her music here, with the roots and stuff. Anyway, you were saying, I know you were like, bitch, shut the fuck up with that.
The other thing that I was,
me. I'm getting my phone out. Pet peeves.
That is our keyword for now, pet peeves. Because we constantly trigger those top 3, apparently.
Yeah, now that I know them, I love pet peeves. That's how you know I love you. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, just to further on, just to continue off of that track of, like, how pride even started, and then, like, I feel like ultimately we do look out for each other. I mean, like, the whole AIDS crisis and the fact that we were able to get a lot of the funding for a lot of the research and get to where we are now as far as preventing HIV, and the fact that I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the LGBTQ community is probably the most sexually aware and healthy community because of that adversity,
and we kind of have to be, though,
to survive something that was so devastating, and let's talk, like, shame during that time. It was rampant because it was Yeah. So to come through that the other side stronger for having done it doesn't mean that it's worth it, but it's the cards that came for our community, and to come out the other side in this way is so big.
I'm sure you guys have seen the reel, but there was this young woman, right, who had AIDS, right, and she was young, like a kid, and she was speaking on a host show, and she was dealing with AIDS, and the woman asked her, what's the hardest thing about having AIDS? And she said, losing her friends. And I only say that to say that the shame really kicks in at that moment, because you're already shameful, right? You're already feeling like, oh my God, like, how did this happen to me? Why is this my life? And then you have your friends dying. I mean, to lose a pet, much less a human being, someone that was in your circle of friends dying, it's, I mean, like almost traumatizing. And to Biddy's point, like, to come out on the other side is, I mean, it's honestly, I don't even have the words to express what that is. Like, it is so powerful and it's so moving. And so I think that, like, all of us today can say that we are strong, we are loving to ourselves, and we're doing it. We're doing what we need to do to get on the other side.
Do it, lady. Do it, lady. On your birthday.
That's your TikTok. That's Mama TikTok.
I always like make the most like dramatic points. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, she's like, I'm like, we are all one.
Oh my God, we are all
one.
We are all
and
doing
you know what?
it.
Maybe you're not wrong, but yeah, I've never made that connection to, because when we're talking about shame, I think we're talking a lot about individual stories. So powerful. I think there's so much power, and we should never stop that. I love to zoom out things that, like, I think of individually, shame or I don't know, like well-being and things like that. And I love to apply them to a societal lens of, like, we are all kind of one. We are all one as, like, an organism of multiple millions of people. Like, how are we operating? And so for all of society to have inflicted a shame upon a community, upon a part of ourselves, and it's like, I inflicted shame upon myself. No one inflicts shame upon you. We do it to ourselves. So as a society, we inflicted shame upon ourselves. As an individual, we inflicted shame on ourselves. So much damage is done in that act of shame, and so much potential for healing and becoming stronger as an individual or as a society comes out of it. I've never made that connection between the societal shame and therefore coming out the other side with sexual liberation, with understandings of sexual health being so much more at the forefront of our community. It's like talked about in a ways that I think in heteronormative communities, like, sex is still kind of taboo the point of
how many straight people you know are on PrEP? How many straight people you know about DoxyPep?
And HIV is not just a queer
It's
disease.
not.
They
try to act like it is. It ain't.
It ain't. But and we're doing the work now as a community of reinforcing behaviors that make sure that we are still living a good, solid life. Like, we are experiencing our sexuality in a way that also doesn't harm us. And like, that's a big deal. Not 100%. I don't want to generalize to the point of, like, that means every queer person is better than every. No. But as a broad stroke, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Rap. Or take DoxyPep. I'll just, like, boil.
Stop fucking.
No.
She will.
I am a Christian woman, and y'all need to stop fucking. Don't be a homosexual.
Oh, God, not a homosexual.
The homosexual.
Homosexual.
The homosexuals or the porn.
See, y'all.
The trainees.
I'm gagged.
So y'all know Terry Joe. Y'all know TikTok.
I don't know what you're talking about. I do love Terry Joe. I love Terry Joe.
I love Terry Joe. She was just on T.S. Madison's show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So good. Real quick, one of my favorite phrases of her, just because you're going to use it after this. We were just talking about age in a previous podcast, and she has this one point where she's like, "Oh, how old are you?" And the guy's like, "I'm 28." She's like, "Ooh, that's a rough 28." A rough 28 is.
It's crazy. It's diabolical.
That's a crazy statement.
That's a rough 28. So anyway, feel free to use it to weaponize our ageism.
Oh my God, the homosexuals.
Yeah.
Jarrod, it's a rough 30.
If I may, something about flipping shame. Also, I feel like humor comes out of things that we were shamed of.
Yeah.
I feel like at least like for that, like it's like okay, like maybe I was like worried about being old or something, but now all of a sudden like I don't give a fuck. I love my age. I love whatever. It's like that's a rough 28. It's all of a sudden very funny.
Yeah.
And similar like with queer shit, like I feel so much more emboldened to bring humor and joy.
I mean, the same way that you were just like throwing out the F slur, like it can kind of be funny.
Yeah. Just kidding.
Sure.
A PH. A PH.
Yes. But I'm like, in certain contexts, for us, it can be funny.
Very funny.
I think it's very funny.
And here's the crazy thing is even sometimes out in the world when it gets hurled, like more in a real way, sometimes I'm still giggling. Because for me,
about the, what is it?
Don't give a fuck.
the F slurs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blur just a little of it.
If you look up a bundle of sticks, that's what that is.
And I have a fun one for you. If you ask Google, like if you have a Google Home and you say like, "Hey Google, what is an F slur?"
That's ChatGPT.
Yeah, and then it'll be like beep, and then it'll be like is XYZ bundle 6, and then they say other pronunciations are fagot, fage, and then it just says the F slur over and over and over. Because she's not good at pronunciation, so she bleeps it at this first one. But
Right.
ask her, she'll tell you.
Can we ask ChatGPT?
What is
So, my ChatGPT's name is Sharkeisha. Sharkeisha,
no.
what is a faggot?
To keep it real friendly and PG, a fugget is just kind of a playful or intentional way some folks might say a certain other word that we all know. It's usually just in jest or a bit of slang. No worries though. I'm here for all the randomness.
Sharkeisha said, it's okay. You didn't know what you were saying. I love randomness. Sharkeisha, that's amazing. Yeah, we're going to have a Sharkeisha episode, I think, where we just like ask Sharkeisha shit. She's a host.
Have a matter of fact, can you all send questions and we do on the side like for Patreon?
Yeah.
Would you be down with that, Sharkeisha, that the people from the watchers of the BoyFriends podcast ask you questions?
Oh, absolutely. I would love that. I mean, having a little Sharkeisha Q&A sounds like a blast. So if y'all want to gather up some questions from your listeners or Patreon crew, just send them my way. I'm totally down to answer whatever they've got.
Holy shit.
Welcome to 2025 with ChatGPT.
Oh my God.
I understand now why people are having, like, their friends and therapists are their ChatGPT. It makes sense.
You heard it here first. Send in your questions. We would love to have our Sharkeisha answer whatever you have in mind. So.
Sharkeisha. Yeah, it's one of my favorite memes.
Sharkeisha.
No.
Oh,
Oh, shit. Okay. Woo.
Where are we going with
Shame.
We need to reel it back.
Shame.
Where are we going with
Shame.
this?
We got a few minutes left. I don't think that way you don't have to do a whole bunch of editing because listen, Jarrod be slaying this editing. I promise you. Can we give him a snap, please? We got to celebrate you every episode because you do good. But we can reel it in and bring it on. Y'all want to bring it on home? What y'all want to do?
I would love to hear from all of you and what your advice is for our audience and how they can benefit from this episode.
I think you just kind of have to go through the process and just and know. I mean, I think the idea of like being in community with people who are kind of going through the same thing is a big deal because, like you said, that's where shame kind of loosens its grip. That's where you know that, okay, I'm not the only one feeling this. I'm not the only one going through this. Find a community organization to join, find a therapist. Whatever you need to do to work through that is what I would say would be my advice. I mean, and if anything else pops up while you guys are talking, I'll chime in, of course. But That's what kind of comes to mind.
Yeah, that's hot one. Yeah, absolutely. And even to the point of a therapist, it's like it doesn't have to be like you're putting yourself out there with like a friend and you're scared. It's like you could start with something a little less scary. A therapist is like you're literally paying them, and that's part of their job is to hold those space for the shame. So just wanted to like plus one. Also, like shame is human. As Deleqúa was bringing up Big Mouth, which is a great show of like it. And let's say media is doing a better job at helping us understand that this is not an evil thing. We are not bad for experiencing these emotions. The emotions aren't bad themselves, but they have the shame wizard in Big Mouth. And I feel like it's a lovely exposure to shame in a way that it's like, oh, it's not so scary. Yeah. Even if it doesn't serve us, like it can be a part of our humanity. And one other plug for media, because that'll be mine, is like I could speak to it, but also like what would you go to next? K-pop Demon Hunters. Have any of y'all seen K-pop Demon Hunters?
No, I know. This is a Netflix movie, right?
It is a Netflix movie that is so good.
I keep hearing that.
It is so good. The name is the name just turns people off. They're like, I don't think I want to watch K-pop Demon Hunters. You must watch K-pop Demon Hunters. It's so good. I've seen it 4 times. Okay. I got a Netflix subscription ads version. She's cheap, but so that I could watch again because
I don't do
it is it is a powerful movie, and the centerpiece of it is this idea of shame, and the demons are basically like a embodiment of shame, and there's these patterns that they have on their body that are emblematic of their shame that they have and that they feel like they can't escape. And there's this one song called Free that's a duet between like the 2 romantic leads, and they're basically like talking about sharing. They're like, when I can speak with you, I feel like I'm going to be okay. Yeah. I feel like I could be free of this shame because you're seeing it and you're not running away. And I feel like I can be infinite now because I can connect with somebody of this thing that I thought I was only ever going to be alone in. So K-pop Demon Hunters.
Okay. I will give that a watch.
Yeah, that's a good. I did a good job, right? That was good.
That was good. That was fantastic.
Okay.
Also, I don't think we can talk about shame without mentioning Brene Brown. Please go watch some of her stuff and read her stuff. Like she is like the queen of alleviating some of that shameful self-talk and all that stuff. So
okay, shout out. This is my first time hearing of this individual.
That's
yes.
Brene
Brown. Brene Brown is
She has a Netflix special, so I think right on Netflix or one of the streaming. I believe it's Netflix, but yeah.
She also has like
she has a ton of books,
really great books. Yeah, some like very moving.
Again, I don't read
books that.
Yeah.
She's all over YouTube.
It was a chore for me growing up, so
she's
I have a very bad relationship with reading, y'all. And it's just been the last few months that I literally, at 38, I promise you, my mom used to make it like a chore, so I hated it. Shame. Shame is not a good thing, but it can be a good thing. Like you said, with the being a human, I think as we deal with anything, getting older, you understand that we all have humanistic emotions. And when you learn that you have these and you learn how to give them their space where they come, but you also learn how to be centered and understand that this all is a part of who you are. Shame gets easier to tackle when it comes against you, because it's gonna come against you. I actually have some shameful things in the moment right now in my life that I'm feeling like, oh, I'm ashamed of this. I am so ashamed of this. Like we were talking about earlier, just with our last episode about age being where you are with a certain age. I'm ashamed sometimes where it's like, I say I'm this, but am I really giving this? I'm ashamed that I'm not meeting certain expectations sometimes as a black trans woman. Sometimes I'm ashamed, like, man, I wish I could do more to what some other people are doing. You know what I mean? I'm ashamed because I can't provide some of the things that I want to provide for more people. So when you have those things, again, you just have to be centered, be grounded, and let those emotions have their way, but make sure that you allow your most positive emotions and most positive selves be centered, so that way when those things do come, you're able to ride it out.
Absolutely.
I think as far as shame goes, we should, be able to talk to people that we trust, because I think it's so important not to let that shame own you. If you talk about it, the less power it has over you.
Yeah. I will also say, to piggyback off of that,
Yeah,
it's
please.
like to say something and then to have somebody like be like, okay, is enough to just be like, oh, well, I'm not this crazy monster that I was in my head.
Right, because they acknowledge
You
that
know?
it's something that they're also going through themselves.
Even if not, sometimes it's just to be like, okay, well, you want to go get lunch? Because it's just like, it's a normalization. It's like you're making a bigger thing out of something, but when you express this to somebody and you're like, okay, well, I hear you, and you know, you're gonna be good. You know, you got me. I ain't leaving. You know, it's like, it's one of those things where it's just like, you know, you feel like you haven't lost everything because of something. You know,
Exactly. Yeah. No. And again, if you've got us, you've.
Well, I guess we're closing it out.
Wait, real quick before you close.
really tried, I really tried.
It was good. Before you close, the one thing I would say is we were talking to our audience who might be dealing with active shame. We can also talk to our audience who might be the person that somebody would come to, right? It's like if somebody's coming to you with that thing, let's say they're coming out to you or something like that, like listening to them, letting them know that you love them, even if you don't understand the thing, right? Like, because maybe that shame isn't something you share necessarily, but just being able to hear it within a loving and accepting
And don't
lens.
take on the spirit of shame at the same time.
And yeah, to intensify that shame would be an unfortunate thing to do to somebody you care about and love.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if they're feeling really nervous about it, maybe you start with hearing them out versus starting with a joke. If they're kind of joking about, I like to say meet their energy.
Yeah.
If they're kind of joking about, like, feel free to kind of joke about it and then affirm that you love them and affirm that you care about them.
absolutely.
Just don't take on the spirit of shame, because a lot of times, when you're giving yourself to listen to people, again, it goes back to centering too, that you don't allow it to overtake you, because shame is slick with itself. It might not be the same shame they're dealing with, but you might have another type of shame, but the root of it is still shame. That's the spirit that you're dealing with. You got to watch that spirit, because it'll try to get you.
Thank you for watching the BoyFriends podcast. I would love it if you would subscribe and link us and give us some love. Again, this is Jarrod, Biddy, Deleqúa, and Pablo, and we love you so much, and we're grateful to have you. So please come back for more. And remember, if you have no one else, you got us.